And I'm here with Mike Munsell, the owner of Calm with Kava. How you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh, good. Hey, so I know that you got some exciting news to share with us. But first, can you just tell everybody a little bit about your business and some of the things that you guys are working on?
Sure, yeah. I'm the founder and owner of Calm with Kava. We started about 2011, and then kind of as a hobby business, just because I had been drinking kava. I've been for about 16 years now, and I was more out of self-preservation. Honestly, I was
Uh-huh.
unhappy with what was available, to buy online in the U.S., and so I made a trip out to Fiji and met with some suppliers there and just started bringing in kava, direct from the farm,
Hmm.
and we really found a unique position in the market that nobody had really been doing that before, and it ended up being a thing that I've now dedicated the last 8 years of my life to is bringing in really good kava, developing new kava products, and just really kind of supporting and being a cheerleader for kava as a whole, really to promote for people drinking it for whatever needs that they have.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know historically you've been going out to these different islands, meeting with these farmers, seeing how you can be helpful. Can you tell a little bit about, what islands that you frequently go to? And it's awesome that you built these relationships, with these farmers, and you're bringing in really good kava.
Yeah, so we go about 4 times a year now. We go all over to pretty much any growing or kava growing country, including Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, um, all over, meeting with farmers. A lot of times, I don't think a lot of people know that kava is not like really any other, commercially grown product where there's not corporations that have big fields of kava, and
Hmm.
it's not monocropped or anything. It's a lot of times it's just either communities or families that have these small plots of kava, and they bring them to oftentimes to the local market. And previously there would be middlemen set up in Nandi or Port Vila or something that would just kind of combine all the kava that they could get together and then send that off as a shipment to the US.
Hmm.
And so, since I was so passionate about kava and what I was drinking, I wanted to make sure that we were getting the best of the best, and as far as possible, single varieties rather than having this huge mix of kava varieties, which oftentimes at that time was mixed with a lot of 2-day kava that was causing some people some issues with nausea and headaches and whatnot.
Hmm.
So really the only way for us to do it is to actually go there and meet with these farmers, help get them set up. We have processing, manufacturing, harvesting SOPs that we go over with them, certain ways that we want the kava harvested, what age of plant, what varieties, how we want it cleaned. We support them with getting any machinery that they may need to update their processes.
Oh,
um,
that's awesome.
Go over all the regulatory stuff for both there and the U.S. for what it takes to get a license to export kava and what it takes to get it into the U.S. And so basically, yeah, we oversee everything from the time that the plant's in the ground to when it arrives in the facility. Through we do all of our processing ourselves, and the time that it goes out to be mailed out to the customers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's like to work with people, on these islands? Because as you were saying, a lot of these are community based, and so, implementing something that they've been doing, literally for generations, and
Mhm.
implementing different SOPs for government regulations and things like that. How has that been? I'm sure that it's probably a balance in a sense.
Well, it's really I love it. I am so lucky to get to do something that I'm so passionate about and enjoy so much. And it's a lot of hard work, but it's so rewarding because on one side you have the people that are benefiting from Kava in the U.S. For anxiety, sleep, just alcohol-free general relaxation purposes. But then I get to see it from the ground in Tonga, Fiji,
Mhm.
Vanuatu, where it's benefiting these communities so much. And so we pay them a premium on their kava, a lot more than what they would get selling it to the market. And it's really building these villages up and bringing them the income to update everything. To, for instance, one of the places we purchased from in Vanuatu, we helped them build a hospital. It was the first hospital in Northern Pentecost that they had
Oh,
before
wow.
they had to actually boat anybody who needed to have any sort of operation, over to another island, and that could
Uh-huh.
take 2 or 3 days for that person to get there.
Oh, geez.
And so we helped get the first hospital set up there. The main village we buy our Borongoru from, they're the most advanced village in the island now. They have running water, they have electricity, we bring them school supplies. It's
Uh-huh.
just it's amazing to see the transformation that them selling kava can bring to everybody in the community.
Yeah, yeah, that is amazing. Well, I'd be remiss to announce some news that you've had been going for a little while. Um, but I would love to talk about this guy. I actually I tried it.
Yep.
I loved it. I thought it was wonderful, and it's just so cool. You're kind of pushing the levels of Kava technology into something that we can consume. It's shelf stable. Can you tell us a little bit about this new project and how it came to be?
Right. I'm super excited about this. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in really the only places in the world that drink fresh kava is Vanuatu and Hawaii. And it's mainly because, the root itself degrades really quickly, and so it'll start molding, souring, just be generally undrinkable after about 2 to 3 days once it's been harvested. And so, from a logistical perspective, most countries dry the kava, and then you've got pretty much a infinite shelf life on it. It can last for a long time once it's been dried. And so previously, most people in the mainland U.S. have, never drank fresh kava unless they've been to the islands. Well, that's one thing that I got, to experience, drinking the fresh kava from the Nakamal, and that's all they drink in Vanuatu. And so
Mhm.
it was really something I wanted to put together that other people could experience it without having to go to the islands. And so we've been working on it for about 3 years now, and we finally got
That is
everything
so
in
cool.
place to make it work. And we take fresh kava from Vanuatu, bring it in. We've got a state-of-the-art production facility that's HACCP, CGMP, and we juice it, put it through a couple of processes. There's no preservatives, there's no additives, nothing. All it is 100% kava juice and water.
Uh-huh.
And we bottle it and produce it in a manner that it produces a shelf stable beverage. So we've got 6 months right now unrefrigerated,
Hmm.
and it's actually really potent too. I think you probably understand
Yeah,
that.
well, I mean, for me, I kind of drank it at night, and then I know that I slept really good. So for
Mhm.
those of you who can't, hold on, sorry, my camera's down there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, this is green kava,
And
straight from the
so
root.
fresh kava will normally have a little bit better taste profile to it. It tastes more like cucumber water than necessarily dirt water like your dried kava.
Hmm.
And then I like to say it's definitely got more of a punch. Each bottle has over 1/3 pound of fresh kava
Hmm.
in it. And then it I'd like to say it has more of like a fuller spectrum profile of effects. I believe that every step you go further away from the plant, as in its natural state, you kind of lose something. So you lose just a
Sure.
little bit when you dry it, and then you lose a little bit more If you do, say, micronized, and then if you do an extract, you're losing a little bit more. And so this is pretty much as close to the natural ways you can get.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome. Do you know about how many kava lactones? For those of you who've been drinking kava, you're probably wondering like how actual potent this is, and a lot of people look at kava lactones, or if you're familiar with it, kavain, perhaps. But do you know a rough estimate on how much is in here?
It's hard to say because the from fresh to dry, there's so much variation, and all the HPLC methods are set up to measure kava lactones from dry matter that has then been extracted with either acetone or ethanol. And so it's not a real good correlation when measuring necessarily the kava lactones. What I like to say is it's one of these bottles, strength-wise, is about the same as you would get maybe from 4 or 5 shells at a local kava bar, or 4 or 5 servings of you making a dried preparation at home.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that. Again, I drank some, I was really enjoying it, and then I had an awesome night's sleep. Yeah,
It's
that's
great.
great. Well, so I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, and going to these islands and visiting with these folks, what's next for the kava industry? Like, where do you see it going with either product development or, helping with agriculture, helping with processing? What's next to come?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of exciting developments ahead. That's what makes working in Kava so fun, is because it really hasn't been, explored as much as other products that are out there. And so there's still a lot of room for innovation. And there's it's still just kind of a blip on the radar in the US. It's not something that's mainstream yet. It's gaining traction with all the kava bars that have been opening up, which we're at, over 150 in the US now, and they're, steadily increasing. But one of the big things is, the World Health Organization is, working on including kava into codex, which are basically worldwide standards for food products. And so that is set, they just had their meeting last month in Vanuatu, and they're continuing to progress with it. But I mean, it could be as early as sometime in 2020 that we could see kava reclassified from a dietary supplement to an actual food product, which it really is. It's been consumed for thousands of years as a normal food without any real side effects or health problems associated with it. And so that's going to be really exciting. We're always personally working on, new ways to play with kava and develop new products. And so we'll have a couple more of those coming out. And, recently Australia announced, they're relaxing their restrictions on kava. And it's looking like sometime in 2020, kava could be fully legal in Australia again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, big things to come. To wrap up, can you tell everybody about how to get in contact with you and find out about your products and
Oh,
what you're
sure,
doing?
yeah. Usually the website's the best, calmwithkava.com.
Uh-huh.
We're offering the new Pacific Roots Kava on there. It's direct from the website. You can order it with all of our other Kava varieties and products. Or if you want to learn more about it, you can go to pacificrootskava.com, and then we're on Amazon and Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
All
And do you sell this one on Amazon also?
not yet, but we're going to. We will in the near future.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. Well, it's great talking to you, Mike.
You
Yeah,
too,
thanks so
Steve. Good
much
to
for
see you
taking the
again.
time.
Yeah.
And guess we should say bula.
Bula.